For a long time, I'd look at fighting games and I'd say, that looks so cool, but I don't think it's for me. I had done some casual button mashing, but I never dove into the deeper mechanics. When I saw the gulf between what I was able to do and what others were doing, I told myself there was no way I'd ever be able to get there. Then, a few years ago, I decided to try for real. Was it worth it? Yes. I can tell you without exaggeration that fighting games have brought me more joy than anything else I've put my gaming hours into. It's a distinct category of enjoyment unto itself, constructed from the greatest pleasures of gaming. The childlike joy of hitting buttons and seeing cool shit happen, the slow burn tension of outmaneuvering an opponent in a strategy game, the Dark Souls satisfaction of studying a boss's patterns and exploiting their weaknesses. It's meditative, it's rhythmic, it's sports, it's therapeutic, it's communal. It's the closest you're ever going to come to feeling like Rocky or your favorite shonen protagonist. It's made me happier, and it's made my brain feel better. It is absolutely worth it. But it takes a lot of work, and looking at that from the outside can be overwhelming and intimidating. This guide is for people who have been studying that water and thinking about jumping in. Hopefully, you can use this video as a gentle, supportive push into the pool. Here's my 10-step guide for getting into fighting games without losing your mind.
Step 1. Decide you want to do it.
This one's kind of obvious, but it's also essential. Your desire to get into fighting games is going to be the thing that fuels you through the hard stuff. If you're fighting game curious, but you're not sure if you're ready to take the dive, there is some other stuff you can do to gradually expose yourself. For starters, watch some matches.
Activates reversal. He wasn't looking.
It's really exciting to see the top players just going nuts. Here are some of my favorites. Goichi vs Sonic Fox at EVO 2018 rules. It's like an unstoppable force versus an immovable object.
Playing him right now, thank you.
Goichi's defense is like an iron wall, but Sonic Fox's offense is just relentless. You know that Sonic Fox is going to do some work as soon as they get an opening, so every mix-up is just so tense. Lil Majin's whole EVO 2018 run was also great. Majin was an American player in a game that was historically dominated by Korean and Japanese players. So it's a combination of an underdog with the home field advantage. Plus he's playing a super fun character with big splashy moves. But it's not just about what the players are doing. Hearing the audience and commentators get excited and pop off for the big moments will help you figure out what's important and what to pay attention to.
And he's so scared of getting hit because he's got that V trigger. No, it's gonna hit here into the critical arc. Textbook.
If you're in the mood to chill and watch some super thoughtful, accessible video essays about the underlying mechanics and philosophies of fighting games, pop on Gerald Lee, aka Core A Gaming. My personal favorite is Why Button Mashing Doesn't Work. Also, follow some fighting game people on Twitter and Twitch and stuff. There's a lot of people doing really interesting streams and posting funny clips that are going to make you want to play.
Whose idea was it to make his pubes his legs?
We hear the mess trying to deck you with the refrigerator. You thought it was, but he unplugged that shit off the wall. Let's get money.
There will be a lot of in-jokes and terminology you don't understand, but you'll pick it up soon enough through context clues. And if you need a helping hand, check out the infill.net fighting game glossary. They have explanations of all the jargon.
Step 2. Pick a game.
A frequently asked question among the fighting game curious is, what's a good fighting game for a new player? And the definitive answer is literally whichever game you're interested in. I'm so serious about this. You need to follow your heart. Look at gameplay trailers, watch some big matches. Whichever game makes you feel the spark is the one that you should chase. That spark will be what fuels you when things get hard. I love martial arts cinema and pro wrestling, so for me, the game that grabbed my attention was Tekken. The pace of animation is a bit slower than the stuff in 2D fighters like Street Fighter or Guilty Gear, so it was kind of like watching a choreographed fight scene from the movies and wrestling I love. Before I understood mid-low mix-ups and frame data, I understood that King did a sick running powerbomb and I loved to see it. You gotta find your access point. You like anime? You like nasty gore? You like ponies? Get it. But while you're following your heart, you do need to pay attention to one annoying wrinkle. Because of the old COVID, you're mostly going to be playing online, and not all games have great net play. In games that use delay-based netcode, response times can be sluggish. The good news is that if you're new, you probably won't know what you're missing out on until you taste that crisp offline stuff. If you know that you're mostly going to be playing online, consider choosing a game with rollback netcode. Rollback is an ingenious net play solution that pretty much eliminates the sluggishness inherent to online fighting games. If you want a cool explainer on how it works, check out this video by Core A Gaming. Here are some games with pretty good netcode. If you're not sure if a game has rollback, just Google it, and you'll either find a bunch of blog posts like Punch Kicker adds rollback, or a bunch of Reddit threads like how come Punch Kicker doesn't have rollback?
Step 3. Gearing up.
Another common question is, what do I need to start playing fighting games? And the good news is if you play other types of games, you're good to go. You need a console or a PC and a controller, and that's it.
Fight!
Also, a good internet connection. More on that later. You might think you need a big fancy fight stick, but there's really no direct correlation between performance and equipment. Lots of the best players in the world grew up using readily available console controllers and still absolutely kill with them. And the skills and knowledge you develop using one type of controller are totally transferable. There's just a short recalibration period where you need to develop some new muscle memory. That said, if you have the resources and the inclination, fight sticks can be a lot of fun. They're tactile and hefty and they make good noises. So let's talk about them. Most of the sticks you'll find are ball-top square gate, meaning the joystick moves around in a square frame. It makes it easy to lock in important fighting game positions like down back. You can just physically feel it. Another less common configuration is bat top K lever. These ones don't have a gate and they use a rubber grommet to return to the neutral position. The result is that they're a bit spongier and you gotta be more precise with your inputs. Unless you're planning to go all in on Tekken or you grew up on these, I'd steer clear for now. Finally, hitbox style controllers replace the joystick with more arcade buttons. They take some getting used to, but they allow for extremely precise inputs. But maybe the biggest benefit is that they're pretty damn ergonomic. Cranking on a fight stick can stress out your shoulders and fingers. My elderly thumbs don't have what it takes to mash on a D-pad anymore. A hitbox is comfy and it lets you nail your inputs without straining. Most controllers work with PC and one type of console. If you ever plan on attending a local event, I'd suggest going for a controller that will work with the PS4. That's what they're going to be using there. Tuning your control setup is fun and it can become a hobby of its own. But the biggest message I want to give you is do not gear gate yourself. Don't put an artificial boundary between you and the thing you want to do. You're just denying yourself the pleasure of playing and getting better. But let's talk about a real boundary.
Step 4. Pipe check.
If your connection to your opponent is not steady, you're simply not going to have a nice time playing with each other. You'll be more likely to biff your execution, but more importantly, it'll just be sluggish and jittery. So most of the online fighting game community adhere religiously to the Ethernet cable, because direct wiring takes a big failure point out of the networking pipeline. The anti-Wi-Fi sentiment online is severe enough that it will affect your experience. Lots of games have Wi-Fi indicators, and opponents are less likely to accept a match with you if they're worried that you'll have a dodgy connection. That means you should get wired up. When I had roommates, I would run cable down my hallway when I was playing and then coil it up when I was done, so our common spaces weren't a constant tripping hazard. This might involve some negotiation and compromise, but it's absolutely worth it.
Step 5. Choose your fighter.
So, who are some good characters for new fighting game players? The answer, regardless of the game, is whoever you think looks cool. Once again, your enthusiasm is going to be the emotional well from which you draw the motivation to grind out combos and do the difficult work of learning. And you don't always have to pick the Ryu of the game to learn the fundamentals. For example, when I started Tekken 7, I played King, because I liked that he was a huge kitty cat man who did all my favorite wrestling moves. He's a great character, but he also has a big, bloated moveset that he's picked up over decades of Tekken games. He's got some complicated inputs, and as a grappler, he approaches combat differently from most of the roster. But I liked him. I liked the way his moves looked, I liked his vibe, so I had the motivation to put in the work. Later, when I picked up Guilty Gear Strive, I went with Soul Bad Guy, because he's kind of the Ryu of that game, and he was really strong at the time. I thought that having a high-tier character who exemplified the fundamentals of that series would help me learn, so I tried for a while, and then I fell off and told myself maybe Guilty Gear wasn't for me. A few months later, I came back and I tried the character who I really wanted to play all along, and it all clicked. I loved looking at my little guy, I loved his gigantic hands and his booty drop, and I love busting. So I was motivated to play and learn. Don't let tier lists or meta discussions dissuade you early on. Pick who you think looks cool. I literally cannot say this enough.
Step 6. Learn how to play.
Once you've selected your little guy, hop into training mode and start hitting buttons. See what they do. See how it feels. Some games like Guilty Gear Strive and Mortal Kombat have decent tutorials that explain fighting game fundamentals and include challenges to test your knowledge. Any fighting game worth playing will also have a full command list in the start menu. If you like what you're feeling, hop onto YouTube and search for some character guides. This is a really cool thing about fighting games. They are complicated. There are hurdles to overcome, but that complexity is also what makes them so satisfying and fun to play. And people want other people to share in that fun, so they'll put in hours and hours and hours of work to make wonderful guides. Like and subscribe. Character guides are great. Looking at your move list in a game is helpful, but it doesn't instruct you on the overall strategy for that character. A good guide will highlight the most important tools your character has and how to use those tools to win. When you watch a guide, don't expect to internalize everything all at once. That's a ton of information and it's just not realistic. I've watched the same guides over and over again over the course of weeks, months, and even years. Every time I rewatch, I'll notice the things that I've learned and incorporated into my play, and I'll make note of the things that I still need to do. In terms of written resources, that's going to depend on the game you're playing. Guilty Gear and other ArcSys games have comprehensive guides on dustloop.com. A lot of Tekken info is in Google spreadsheets that get passed around on Reddit. Figuring out where your game lives online is just a matter of Googling. As you watch and read, hop into training mode and work on a few bread and butter combos. Don't worry about optimizing yet. You need to develop your muscle memory to the point where you can hit your combos at all. A few days after I picked up Tekken, I got on Twitter and posted a video of me hitting King's most basic, unoptimized combo. I did it, I might have said, and a passing commenter might have asked, did what? This will be a pattern that repeats over your time in fighting games. You're going to put a lot of effort into mastering things that to outsiders appear inconsequential and to experts insignificant. But that doesn't mean it's not an accomplishment. Good job. But nailing combos only accounts for a tiny, tiny percentage of what goes into playing a match. And the only way to start figuring that out is to fight.
Step 7. Fight a human.
Sitting here on this screen for the first time can be scary. I mean, maybe not for you, maybe you're some sort of real fucking cool guy. But for me, not knowing what would happen when I hit that matchmake button was nerve-wracking. Another real human being is about to see you fumble around with your buttons and drop your combos and forget to block in real time. But it's okay. It'll be fine. As intimidating as that human-to-human connection is, it's also absolutely core to the joy of fighting games. Now, I'm not saying there's no value to fighting the CPU. It is a good way to keep learning your own character's moveset and develop muscle memory. It can also help you familiarize yourself with the capabilities of other characters. You can learn that Sagat has this big kick and this uppercut and, whoa, 2 different fireballs. But once you've mentally logged that stuff, there's not much more it can do to prepare you for fighting a real person. Despite advances in fighting game AI, the CPU won't string those moves together like a human opponent, and fighting a robot is just not as fun. So take a deep breath, set your expectations low, and hit that matchmaking button. Or one of those matchmaking buttons. Most fighting games are going to have a couple of options, so let's go over those. Ranked matchmaking tracks your performance and skill using a bunch of different metrics, then attempts to match you against opponents of the same skill level. Usually there's some sort of meta progression here, as you earn new titles or badges, or in the case of Strive, literally move towards the top of a tower. The obvious pro here is that as a new player, you should be paired up with other new players, so you'll actually have a chance of winning, and winning feels good. The con is that even when you're fighting for fake online points, that sense that you're being evaluated changes everything. Getting bumped down a level after a losing streak can be really demoralizing. It also changes the behavior of your opponents.
Still haven't transcended humanity, huh? You lack discipline.
Separating your self-worth from your performance can be tough, and it makes some people act really silly. It can cause people to get obsessive about their win rates. They might duck you in matchmaking if you play a character that they have a hard time against. They might bail out of a set the moment they lose. They might send you nasty messages. Quick tip on this if you're worried about getting shit from toxic players, lock down your message settings ahead of time. Now I know I just listed a lot of cons that make ranked sound like shit, but it's actually fine. The other option is unranked. Here the matchmaking will just stick you with another player. Any other player. Or you'll meet up in some sort of virtual arcade setting. Unlike ranked play, there's no digital clout on the line, so people are much more likely to play long sets. That's a good thing. In fighting games, even at the highest level of play, there's always an adjustment period between opponents. Pro players have the knowledge and experience to tune up quickly, but for beginners it takes longer. Let's say your opponent is using a technique that keeps blowing you up. You might not have time to run to a website and look up the frame data, but in a long set, you do have more opportunities to rummage through your toolkit and try to find something that'll solve your problem. And if you find a solution, you have the chance to test it out repeatedly and start burning it into your muscle memory. The most obvious downside to unranked matchmaking is that you might get paired up with somebody who is way better than you. But that's not really a downside in my opinion. Losing 20 matches to a very experienced player is a great way to learn. You learn which of your reliable strategies aren't really viable against better players, and you get to see the strength of good fundamentals. And you'll see something that you are very unlikely to see in the beginner ranks. The power of not pressing buttons. When I started playing unranked Tekken, I would fight opponents who felt like absolute brick walls. They would just block, punish, and whiff punish. Every loss was the result of me overextending and using unsafe options. So I tried to emulate their style, and gradually I got better. I still love hitting buttons though. Anyways, both ranked and unranked are valuable. If you stop having fun with one, try the other for a bit. And on the topic of having fun,
Stepping. Struggle.
You lose.
Isn't it past your bedtime?
at the end of a fighting game match, you win or you lose. There's no teammates to blame for not pulling their weight. There's no XP meter sliding up to reward you for your participation. You will, beyond a shadow of a doubt, lose a lot. Self-doubt and frustration can feel overwhelming when you're in the thick of it, but it is all a part of the process of getting better. So here are a few tips for getting through it. Separate your self-worth from your performance. Okay, I know this is kind of like saying stop being mentally ill, but it still needs to be said. You are not your win-loss ratio. Getting demoted doesn't mean you suck as a person, even if it feels that way. And if you start feeling that way, it's time to take a damn break. Taking a break doesn't just let you cool off, it makes you better. When your hands are off the joystick and you're doing something else, your brain keeps gently churning on those situations, looking for the solutions that you couldn't find in the heat of the moment. Your body is rewiring neuron pathways to make your execution smoother and better. Playing fighting games feels a bit more like a traditional skill-based hobby like playing guitar. There's a base level of effort and self-direction you need to get enjoyment out of it. That means that you won't always have the mental energy to do it. And that's okay, don't force it. A break from fighting games can be a couple hours or a couple months. The games will still be there when you get back, and your body will remember what to do. Watch replays. God, this one is so hard. It's like hearing your voice in a recording or seeing yourself on video. Do I really do that? You do, but it's so valuable and you can't neglect it. Most fighting games keep a log of your most recent matches with the ability to play them back. You should take advantage of that. Seeing yourself play can help you recognize habits that you want to correct. It can also help you appreciate what you do well and what you want to do more of. And when you're feeling really brave, take the next step. Show your gameplay to someone else and ask them for tips. But before you can do that, first you need
Step 9. Community and competition.
This can be one of the greatest joys of fighting games. The fighting game community is the name of the collective, but it's not monolithic. There are hundreds or thousands of Discord communities out there for fighting games. Some are game specific, some are character specific, some are geared towards certain demographics and skill levels. Do some Googling and ask around on Twitter until you find a place that feels good for you. Whether it's folks you meet through these communities or your own network of friends, playing fighting games against someone you know is so good. For me, knowing who's on the other side of the connection completely obliterates the frustration and antagonism that I can feel playing against random online opponents. Partially because it's just more humanizing when you know that person, but also because you can ask questions and chat. If you're in a good community, your opponent isn't going to keep any secrets. Because people who have decided that they want to get good at fighting games have signed an unspoken contract of mutual self-improvement. Iron sharpens iron. Fighting stronger opponents makes you stronger, so a good sparring partner will explain exactly how and why they're winning, until it's time to compete.
Very well then. Far be it from me to turn down a challenge. And for a fellow pugilist.
Through your community or just by being online, you might come across some online tournaments, and you should sign up for them. Tournaments are really cool. They offer you the chance to do a lot of things that you won't get in your casual play. First of all, it's one of the few times you and your buddies will step into that magic circle of competition, mutually and temporarily agreeing to set aside the helpful hints and just going all out, seeing who will win. If you're used to mostly playing friendlies, it's fun to try out a different vibe. The other useful thing is that it's fucking scary. At first. The first few times I did online tournaments, I literally got shaky and sweaty. I forgot my combos and I mashed buttons. But each time I did it, it got easier. And once you've played under pressure, you'll be better in casual settings. Random matchmaking doesn't get my heart rate up like it used to. Finally, a lot of tournaments are streamed on Twitch, which means you might get a chance to rewatch the VOD and hear someone commentate your match. Like a lot of parts of the fighting game process, this can make you feel vulnerable, but a good commentator will put into clear terms what's going on, and that can be an incredible learning tool.
They've proven they're pretty good at fighting out of the corner. Already, Doublemint now back thrown into the corner. Again, huge life deficit, but the other way around. Gets hit by the stomps. No, but drops it at the target combo.
Step 10. There is no end.
One of the many wonderful and intimidating things about fighting games is that there's no prescribed end goal for your participation. There's no final boss or end game treadmill. Even the best player in the world is only the best until someone surpasses them. No matter where you are in your journey, in some sense, you're still at the beginning. That means you won't always know the next step forward, but it also means you're never falling behind. And as long as you're on that path, learning and having fun, you're doing it right.